Hopefully you can get done the things that you need to get done. But again, survival is more important. Do what you can to make it through the day. And then if you can, get done those other things. If you can't, do not beat yourself up.
That's how I do. It just, that's the headline. It's inexpensive.
Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this brand new day. Yay! It is good to metabolize. I enjoy doing that, and hopefully you enjoy metabolizing as well. I speak about metabolizing quite a bit because it's something that we all have in common. Definitely a good thing. Thumbs up on that. I slept, and that's a good thing, and it was kind of wet and rainy last night. My shoes got soaked, and I forgot to dry them out last night. So this morning I've got my space heater turned on to 65, and I got my shoes up there so they can dry out because they're still soaked. So my apologies. But here are my taped up shoes. Now the tape on the shoes aren't bad. In fact, all I've done is put duct tape on the back of the shoe so that my foot and socks don't scrape and tear apart the back of the shoe. So that just saves the shoe. When the tape gets tore up instead of the fabric of the shoe, I just have to replace the tape, which keeps the shoe lasting longer. Thumbs up on that. I do that to all of my shoes now because it used to be it would tear out the entirety of the foam and padding and such on the back of the shoe, and then the shoe wouldn't fit anymore. Now I put the duct tape on there so it tears apart the tape, and hey, works real good. And of course, now that I've talked about what a person that I am like that, whatever that means, front loading of videos, yay. Hey, if you could toss me a like, that'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be very awesome. If you could leave me a comment, that'd be very, very cool. And I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. They're literally beautiful and literally awesome. People are literally beautiful and literally awesome. Without these people, I would be in a dump truck of trouble. I don't exactly know what that means. I think it means that would be a lot of trouble. So thank you very, very much to each and every one of these people for helping to keep me and my pets alive, my kitty cat and my hamster. If you would like to help me out and become a patron, there's a link in the video description underneath the video, depending on what device you're watching this on. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, there's a PayPal link, and if you'd like to help me out without being any financial stuff at all, I do have an Amazon wishlist link with stuff like cat food on it, so if you could check it out, that'd be awesome. Hey, front loading a video is over. Thumbs up for that. Anyway, though, because of my untreated ADHD and the way that I keep falling asleep because I never am able to sleep a lot, I get maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night maximum, so I tend to fall asleep during the day given any sort of push, like meds that make me sleepy, or eating foods that have gluten in them that knocks me out, puts me into a gluten coma. So if it's just slow, I'll tend to fall asleep. Yesterday I did some early morning, well not early, but some before noon falling asleep in here, and then afterward I played games, watched videos, did whatever I could, went out on walkies, and tried to be as creative as possible. So that is a very good thing. Past that, I haven't really done anything physical. It was just a slow weekend. I've been out walkies, of course. Those sections of town where they have been tearing up the railroad tracks and they've made the street parts where it used to intersect the street look nice, having torn out the tracks, taken up the ties, and then just put blacktop down. And they've been tearing out. Oh, hi kitty, you gonna come over? No, you're not. Okay. She's wandering around. She goes outside and inside. She hasn't been drinking much that I can see out of her bowl, so I'm a little worried about that again. But she's still doing well, eating a lot. So that's what's happening in town, and I haven't really gone anywhere or done anything. There is one thing that I did see. I like to look at buildings, urban decay, I find interesting. There was a building in one of the downtown blocks that I cannot remember what the front of the store was, but in the back, there was like a residential apartment part, because I'd go back there like 8 or 9 o'clock and there was a window and it would be lights on and you could, curtains, you could occasionally see people, look like, sink and stuff like that. There were people that lived there. I was walking by the other day The front part of the store has been torn out completely. It's open up on top where, attic / front part of residential area is. And you go around the back and it is torn open and gutted. So something happened on the inside of it, and it's either condemned and they're taking it down or they're repairing it. So there are a lot of old buildings that are just falling apart in town here. So thumbs up on that. Urban decay. Yay! So on my list here of stuff that I want to talk about, there is one thing that I was watching on a video this morning where it's like, how do you fight this sort of thing? I don't know how, as a rational human being, how to fight this kind of thing, but there is this one I do not know. I'm not quite sure. This part could be wrong. I think she's a Filipino that has moved to Canada and has a lot of people convinced that she is the Queen of Canada. And she has told her instructors, she has instructed her followers, because she has tens of thousands of followers online, to just don't pay your bills anymore. I've told everyone you're not supposed to, you don't have to. And so people have just stopped paying their bills. They've been getting their electricity turned off. They've been getting evicted from their homes because they've stopped paying for them. She's not the Queen of Canada. She can't tell the utility companies to stop collecting your utility bills because she has no power, and yet people are getting their stuff turned off all across the country because the Queen had told them they don't have to pay anymore. How do you fight that? I have no ideas. On a minor, well, that's a minor way, but on a major thing, that's a big problem, especially here in the United States, where we have a large broadcasting network that tells people bad things, so that when people go out and get their long-distance weaponry and use it to unalive a bunch of people in stores in towns, they then repeat almost verbatim the stuff that's being said by the broadcasters on the one network. But of course the network is allowed to keep saying all this fun stuff. It's a joy to live in the United States as we rocket backwards. But anyway, so also quickly, I just came up with some weird sort of lore more on this. I've talked about in the past how there is the Duck Head of Scorn, and the Duck Head of Scorn is a cosmic being that uses its power to mock and scorn those that it feels are doing bad things. And so it uses its powers to have negative reinforcement to try and change people's behaviors for the better. There is the Horse Head of Encouragement that is on the opposite end of the spectrum. It uses positive reinforcement to try and change the behaviors of human beings. That's a good thing. And there, the Lobster Hat is also a cosmic artifact, great power that they share between them. Occasionally, I also have that pig in there. The pig is like a trickster being, I believe. It mocks those in power whom it feels are above themselves because of their situation, trying to keep those humble, which is why you occasionally will see the pig draped over them. It is mocking them. Perhaps. You never know. And then, of course, it just on the whole, my inside-outside razor's edge, all this project, I've talked before about how I tried to just let things percolate, because once I realized that my creativity was such that I get an idea and then push and follow instead of trying to direct it, because doing that doesn't really work. Following it has been just a blessing. I've mentioned things in the past that have turned out to be a major part in the whole project later on. Earlier, months back, I've talked about how there is a military force that is chewing its way through the Association of Sovereign Free States, because when you go to the inside from the razor's edge on the crossroads, if you just have the normal amount of sight you can access 3 places to go to, well 4, on the crossroads, which is that transition point between the Razor's Edge and the inside. There's the Crimson Kingdom, the Pale Domain, the Association of Sovereign Free States, and of course back towards the Razor's Edge. It's an actual physical crossroads place, depending on how you get there, whether it's, walking, mounted, or, combustion engine vehicle or such like that. It may appear to be like a varsity track or like a roundabout or anything like that. The Association of Sovereign Free States is like pre-World War I Europe, except with modern tech. It's a bunch of small, tiny states that have declared, they are independent and not needing each other, and so they have a whole bunch of treaties with each other, and everybody's always jockeying and moving around, and it is a nightmare of diplomacy. And this militaristic culture, which usually does not occur on the Razor's Edge, it being an unending, untamable frontier, you need to be extremely community-minded to stay alive. Authoritarian things like that don't tend to do well because you have to have a lot of trust between each other. And these big authoritarian things don't have a lot of trust. But there is one that has broken through, because it's probability curve. You're going to have the mainstay of things in the middle and then the outliers on either edge. So most things fail. Some do real well, some crash and burn super hard. So this one is they've lasted over here on this end of the probability curve and not in the middle of these don't work. They are imperialistic, they're colonialistic, and they are exceptionally unpleasant. As a militaristic thing, the officer class, if you can see and access glamours, you are guaranteed a spot in the officer school. Just the normal enlisted type, they do not have the ability to use glamours anymore. So there's tech to access glamours and the officer class that can use the glamours. The scout person that's on this one strike team is Lieutenant Anton, and of course they may be officer class, but they are not sheltered. Everybody on the squad, the 5 enlisted and Lieutenant Anton, they have their backpacks of stuff, they have their MREs, they have their weaponry, but past that they are out in the field. They're like SEAL operatives except to gain information. And that's what they do. Once they hit the ground, their Lieutenant Anton is in charge, but they are a squad. They trust each other. He's not lording it over them and you do things wrong or else. They are a trusted squad. Unfortunately, again, they are very unpleasant. Now, they have scientific means to back up their beliefs, but their scientific means of determining things are they set up the criteria for how that they want to divide things up, and then they find the criteria to back up the decisions that are already made. They have divided up humanity into 4 classes, each of which they can tell almost by look which group you belong into. But remember, they determined what the classes are. They've determined what the distinctions are. It is a human thing that they are doing, because they even acknowledge the genome is the same. But there are the true humans, pure humans, which amazingly just also happens to be everything that they and their human species is, also happens to fit every single box on the "Are you a human being?" checklist. Funny that. And then there are the lesser races. They consider you almost human. You're human enough, but you're like apes. They consider you smart enough to do manual labor, but you shouldn't be given any positions of responsibility. You're still human. Mostly. And then there are the subservient species. You're considered to be little more than an animal, except you're like a horse horses. You know, horses that they use in the field, or cows that provide milk, or work dogs. Things that you're not just going to get rid of if you're made unhappy immediately. You'll punish them to try and bring them into line, but you won't just immediately end them if you get irate at them. And then, as Lieutenant Anton is explaining to this one farmer that has his hands zip-tied and has been kicked to a kneeling position in front of them, as he wipes his boots off on the front of the farmer's chest, there are the animals. You share the same genome, but you're not human. You're not human. In fact, we refer to you as a long pig. And let me tell you, there are many, many choice cuts on a long pig. And pong! At which point he just tells one of the people in the crew, China, prepare, dress, and cook this long pig carcass for tonight. I am tired of eating freeze-dried MREs. We need fresh meat. Because, yeah, long pig is always on the menu. And it's not cannibalism, because even though they share the same genome, by their criteria, they're not even human. Very, very unpleasant militaristic society, and it is this group that is chewing through the Association of Sovereign Free States. This group does run afoul of UTOC, and tomorrow I'm going to talk more about UTOC and what I've come up with UTOC. And if you don't know who UTOC is, and I'd be surprised if you do, I talked about UTOC some months back and then just been letting it percolate in my head. Tomorrow I hope to speak of the new, well, not new, but the evolutions of UTOC and what happens to the scouting crew when they get to the crossroads and UTOC is there. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. It's never many anymore, but anything less than 0 is awesome. Thumbs up and thank you. If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count an American, American Sign Language, that's not American. I mean, that's probably a sign, but that's not the sign for American Sign Language. No, that's Ed Aguirre. I am not quite sure how to pronounce your name properly, so I'd rather not massacre. Thank you very, very much. Jesse Koskinen, always good to see you in the comments. Thumbs up and thank you. KRYZIK, thumbs up and thank you. Rottweilers, thumbs up, greatly appreciated. The Visionary, thank you very, very much. MFMOAI, thumbs up and thank you. RL Strange, greatly appreciated. Kryptonite, once again, KRYPTNYT, and good ideas and thank you. We have Rockdrigo1115. I would again love to play Elden Ring on console. My machine is not well enough to be able to play it well, my computer. So, but I don't have enough money to eat all the way through a full month. I can't afford to spend $60 on a game. That is half a month's worth of food. So, but thumbs up and thank you. We have Ben B, greatly appreciated. There is Lucas, thumbs up and thank you. Wasabi covered nuts, thank you very much. There is Eduardo Gassa, thumbs up, and JAYY, thumbs up and thank you. All 9 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Greatly appreciated. Get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people. It is appreciated. Definitely a good thing. Yay. So yes, indeed. I've got phone calls I'm going to try and make today. People to talk to, appointments to make, and things to figure out. Hopefully you can get done the things that you need to get done. But again, survival is more important. Do what you can to make it through the day. And then if you can, get done those other things. If you can't, do not beat yourself up. That's only going to make you feel bad, and it isn't going to help you get things done better. And of course, with the covfefe bug raging, please take the appropriate precautions for your area. We have had over 1 million people in the United States throw themselves willy-nilly onto the corpse pile. Over 1 million dead. Don't toss yourself onto the corpse pile before you need to. Get vaxxed. Take your precautions. Get a booster. Please. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and quite frankly, I do think that is a very good idea.